Today we will be learning about using compatible numbers to find difference. Difference just means to subtract, and compatible numbers just simply means numbers that are easier to compute or to add or subtract more easily. So the way that I teach my students how to use compatible numbers, whether adding or finding difference, is to round using the tens place or the hundreds place. I always tell them to choose one specific place when they're using compatible numbers. So for the sake of this video, we will do tens place and then we will also do hundreds place so that the students can see which number placement create compatible numbers for easier computation. So for the sake of 642 subtract 137, I'm going to first use the tens digits place. So I'm going to underline the numbers that are in my tens place. So I know that the 4 actually equals 40. And once I underline the place value I'm rounding to, I'm going to make an arrow to my next door neighbor. My next door neighbor is 2. I know that 2 is smaller than 5, so that 4 stays the same and the 2 becomes a 0. And if we look at 137, I underline my tens place, which was the 3. I make an arrow to my next door neighbor. I see it's 7. 7 is bigger than 5. So 5 or more, add 1 more. So we're going to add 1 more to that 3, making it a 4. And anything after that number line will become a 0. So now we have our new way of finding our difference. So now the students will just simply subtract from left to right normally. And we know that 0 subtract 0 is 0. 4 subtract 4 is 0. And 6 subtract 1 is 5. So we would say that the estimated difference between 642 subtract 137 would be 500. Now we will do the same numbers, and instead of using the tens place as our place value, we will now use the hundreds place. And I personally believe the hundreds place is a lot easier for students to learn how to use compatible numbers and to estimate. So the first thing I do is I decide which place value I'm going to round to. I've decided to do the hundreds place. So I will underline the numbers that are in my hundreds place. So I underline the 6 and the 1. I will now make an arrow to my next door neighbors so that I can know what these numbers will round to. So when I make the arrow, I notice that my next door neighbor is a 4. I know 4 is smaller than 5. So the 6 is going to stay the same. And then anything after this line is going to become a 0. When I look at the second number, I have the 1 underlined because it's in the hundreds place. And I made an arrow to the 3. I know the 3 is smaller than 5, so that tells me this 1 stays the same. And anything after that line becomes a 0. And now all we need to do is subtract from left to right, just like the original way that we add or subtract. So 0 subtract 0 is 0. 0 subtract 0 is 0. And 6 subtract 1 is 5.